If you have ever spent time scrolling your eyes out on the phone or playing endless video games and then stayed up over 12 cups of coffee, a lot of sweat and tears to finish that report or assignment, then this is going to be interesting for you. Sometimes when there's something I have to do but don't really feel like it, I would do anything else rather than getting started with that task. Maybe even tidy up the cabinet. Why? Because that makes me feel productive, as if I'm accomplishing something, and so I'm justified in rescheduling the real task. And you know what? The moment you think, let me reschedule this or I'll do it tomorrow, sometimes you can literally feel a physical weight lifting from your mind, neck, and shoulders. You have been so stressed under that decision. Plus, it feels oddly very productive. But is it really? Because procrastination can take many shapes, like perfectionism sometimes, overconfidence, or jumping from task to task, but the end result is always the same. Things simply don't get done. It can even make us super productive in short bursts, like working your head off to get that report ready in time when you used up 90% of the time doing something else. But that's something, those super productive bursts are something which we can't keep doing over and over again without it hurting our health, results, and motivation. Procrastination, the I'll do it later bug, is something which is behind a lot of stress, overwhelm, and clutter that we have in our life. What gets things done consistently is starting heavy and leaving enough time towards the end for hurdles or problems we couldn't foresee and to review the work done. Procrastination is the one loose end that unravels every plan to effectively manage time and get things done. Let me show you the 5 key things to overcome procrastination routinely every single day. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nandita and this channel is for you if you want to uncomplicate and take that control of your life one step at a time. I'm just a simple person who speaks from what I learned trying to figure out the why behind life's challenges. And so please comment with your own thoughts on this topic and we will turn this into a chat. Alright, let's begin. We know something needs to be done, it's in our head. But if that isn't sending a strong signal to our hands for action, it means there's a gap and most of the message is getting lost en route. This is what world's leading memory and brain coach Jim Quick calls the H-cube effect, the head-heart-hand connection. When we don't tap into our conviction, leave our heart out of the chain, the message from our head to take action becomes weak and we tend to procrastinate. Whatever you need to do, make sure you are convinced of the reason behind it. Maybe it's good for your future, for your family, keep the momentum up at work, or maybe you want to help someone out. Whatever your reasons, make sure you are clear about it. If you aren't convinced of the reasons, then it's a good idea to reassess whether the task should really be on your to-do list. So you need to read this book or that 1000-page report, and knowing it's important isn't helping you open the book. What now? Break it down into manageable chunks. If looking at the big picture from a height makes you feel dizzy, it's better to keep your focus on each single step of the staircase leading you there. Ask yourself, what can I manage today? Something that doesn't stress you out, and just focus on completing that single task. If you feel you can do more at the end of it, then go for it. Because sometimes reality is very different from what we see in our head. We either think of the task as tougher than it actually is, or we downplay our capacity, making the task feel way out of our comfort zone. Here's a pro tip. When breaking a big task into non-scary chunks, try to hit the sweet spot where the goal isn't so easy as to feel boring or so challenging as to overwhelm you into inaction. The next point will help you with this. There are a few things that trigger our brain into action, like if there's a hint of a risk, novelty of action, unpredictability, complexity, or pattern recognition, like if this happens, then that will follow. All these produce dopamine in our brain. It's a neurochemical connected with reward-motivated behavior and reflexes. But these action triggers don't work equally for everyone. Like unpredictability doesn't really fire me up into action. So figure out which of these triggers works for you and use that on tasks that you usually tend to postpone. Like for me, pattern recognition works most of the time. So whenever I have to do something out of my comfort zone, I follow it up with half a day of doing whatever I feel like, any crazy lazy thing, going for a long drive, shopping online, or lounging with a book. This teaches my brain that every risk taken, every uncomfortable step is going to lead to half a day of pure indulgence. And so when it recognizes this pattern, and also because the brain sees this as a reward, it throws up fewer excuses why I shouldn't be doing that task. Things get done and I end up being actually more productive. And you are more likely to follow through with any effort if you are kind to yourself. Stepping out of the comfort zone can be more comfortable if we plan things the way that works for us. So how do you do that? See, rewards, whether big or small, if they mean something to you, it signals to the brain that it's worth doing again, worth putting in the effort. Now, rewards don't necessarily have to be after you finish the task. What I mean is, if you can make the task more enjoyable or more comfortable for you, then that also counts as a reward. Break up a boring thing you have to do today, one that has reschedule written all over it. Take the task and break it up into interesting chunks. Brainstorm what can be done, what will get you interested. As part of my freelance writing gig, I once had to write about taking care of kitchen plumbing in winters. You can imagine how I felt about that, and the worst part was I couldn't get out of it. So to redeem a bit of the hard luck and get things moving, I broke it up into 4 half-hour actions. The first half hour I spent searching online for fun facts about the topic. Yes, there are. That made the next half hour of researching everything technical seem much easier because it created a kind of groove, a momentum. Then I spent the third half hour in making and enjoying a chocolate shake. What this did was shift my mind from focus mode to diffuse mode, a very good space to connect disjunct pieces of information into a meaningful picture. So now with everything in place, I went back to my blank page and spent the last half hour in pouring that picture from my mind as words onto the page, and that got the job done on time. The more we make things comfortable for us, the easier it is to get them done and overcome procrastination. Interestingly, that's also one of the main things for creating lasting habits. That reminds me, if you're finding this helpful, press the like button to keep the video handy, because it will also make it easier for this video to reach others who might find it useful. Appreciate that. Now we come to distractions, one of the 5 major things responsible for procrastination. In case you're wondering, the other 4 are boredom, overwhelm, lack of motivation, and doubtful chances of success. Distraction can come from noisy or uncomfortable surroundings, those multiple tabs open on your computer, or your mind floating back to where you left your game of Minecraft. Whatever makes doing the task on your list look good for later harms your productivity and disarranges all your carefully crafted time management plans. It throws everything out of gear. There are 2 very effective ways of dealing with this. First, know your distractions beforehand and make arrangements for them. Put on those noise-canceling headphones, sit where it's comfortable, and shut down all those extra tabs. A clean space helps us concentrate better. The second thing that works beautifully is turning the very thing tempting you or distracting you as a reward for finishing that very task. For example, if a fresh new episode of your favorite Netflix show is making you think of shifting some task to another day, promise yourself instead to take time out and watch it after you finish that job. Make it into a reward instead of a distraction. If the size of the task is distracting you from its importance and overwhelming you into inaction, break it up into manageable mini tasks, because as you achieve a mini goal, it feels like a reward to our brain and it gets charged up for more. And so you gain momentum even when the task is boring or overwhelmingly big. The details of your goals are important, but what's equally important is what you do to make the process of reaching these goals comfortable, a smooth ride. It's called the 3 P's of achieving goals and getting things done. I will link the video over here for you to check it out. You take care, and I'll see you soon.